Hello and welcome to LexLocal. I'm your host, Rick Dorrington. It's been a busy 2 weeks in Lexington since our last show. Fall town meeting has ended, the planning board takes on affordable housing, and if you were in the center between 2 and 5 on October 31st, you would know that Halloween is officially back. Eric Michelson, president of the Lexington Retailers Association, told us more than 1,100 ghosts, goblins, princesses, and wizards took over Mass Ave looking for treats. We'll show you some spooky pictures later in the show. But first, our top story. According to Zillow, the real estate marketplace company, in 2021, the average price of a single-family home here in Massachusetts was over $500,000. That means Massachusetts had the third highest housing cost in the United States, right behind California and Hawaii. To address how to provide more affordable housing, the state passed a new Zoning Act amendment. Brian Dota talks to planning board members to discuss why this is important for Lexington.
The new amendment to the Zoning Act mandates that towns in the greater Boston area, including Lexington, must adopt zoning specifically for multifamily housing units by 2024.
And they've been clear that there will be consequences for communities that don't comply. Will become ineligible for certain grants, but they've also made it clear that it will be applied to other state funding opportunities.
This is really something that Lexington hasn't done before, and many communities in the region have not done, which is allowing multifamily housing by right in parts of the town. And I think people need to understand what that implies and the challenges in complying with the law.
Principles that the law has outlined and encouraged.
On October 25th, the planning board held a workshop on housing with members of the Lexington public. The goal of the workshop was to get ideas and input from the community on potential areas for the new zoning.
It was really a really interesting session because 10 tables with 8, 9, or 10 people from the community discussing what their thoughts were. The similarities between what the tables came up with from table to table to table, there were definitely themes that were very consistent. And the staff work that went into preparing for that, developing the maps and getting them produced, was really significant, and I think made it a very understandable and easy to access exercise for people to dive into. I thought that really worked very well. But what we got from it was also, I think people took away from it that it's not easy, that it's hard finding the space to do what's required in the statute and to do it in a coherent fashion that makes sense for the entirety of the community.
For those of you who weren't able to attend the in-person meeting on the 25th and would still like to have your opinions heard, there's still plenty of opportunity to do so.
The expectation is that we'll have this as an agenda item on many of our meetings going forward for the next weeks and months. And it's really important for people to provide the feedback earlier so that we have a chance to digest it and revise or develop plans that really meet the needs of the community. So we want to hear from people, and we want to hear from them on this sooner rather than later.
Anyone can email staff at planning@lexingtonma.gov. That way we compile comments and get it to all 5, 6 planning board members.
This has been Brian Dota for LexLocal.
Affordable housing was also on the agenda at Fall Town Meeting. Town meeting members approved the establishment of a new affordable housing trust, another tool for Lexington to help tackle housing prices. One more highlight from the meeting, approval for reorganization of LexHab. It can now become an independent nonprofit. For full coverage of town meeting, go to lexmedia.org. We'll have more after this break. Stay with us. Go back in time and view Lexington's rich history through clothes and textiles. The Lexington Historical Society has a new exhibit at Buckman Tavern, Stitching Stories, Textiles and Conversation.
We are so excited. This is Stitching Stories, Textiles and Conversation. It's the first time that the Historical Society is pairing its historic collection of textiles and different artifacts related to textile manufacturing with contemporary artists that we asked to bring their pieces into the historic structure of Buckman Tavern. And so the contemporary pieces are in a really cool conversation with the historic rooms. The great thing about the Historical Society is we have over 4,000 pieces in our collection. Very rarely do we get to show all of the collection or even the majority of the collection. There's a piece in the downstairs gallery that's John Hancock's waistcoat, and we've got one of our contemporary artists, Darlene Wigden, who actually is making a dress inspired by that waistcoat. So that's probably the most direct correlation between a contemporary and historic piece. Then you've got contemporary pieces inspired by 19th century mourning jewelry. So people would create jewelry out of hair of dead loved ones, or different styles of textiles. We have a wedding dress from our historic collection, and then we've got some dresses that are more contemporary inspired.
So we are very fortunate to have some local pieces on display here. As the Historical Society, we're always trying to find images and stories that come with our pieces, and particularly some of these which haven't been on display before. We're very excited that the community can see their own history. We have a high school cheerleader sweater from 1962, which is one of our favorite pieces because we were able to find a photo of it in the yearbook from that year. So this is not the exact same sweater, but a different person who is wearing it. So if Linda Wilson from the class of 62 is watching, we have a photo of you in the display. And then we also have a Girl Scout uniform from the late 1920s. And the person who donated these actually gave us a couple of different dress options from her time in the Girl Scouts. So you might also see over the course of this exhibition some things being swapped out so that you can see multiple options of some of these outfits. And we were also very fortunate to have a photograph of some women wearing the same style. So this is from the 1930 Patriots Day Parade. So we definitely wanted to show one of our flapper dresses from our collection in this exhibit. And we were able to find one that had actually been donated by a board member. So we have this amazing family connection where Marcia was able to come in and see her grandmother's dress on this beautiful dress form, which is also somewhat contemporary in true flapper style. We have used a sequined dress form, which I think Grandma Nellie would appreciate. And then we also have a photograph of the woman who wore this dress. It was taken a few years before. She was, I believe, about 19 in this photo. And it's really incredible to have been able to see some of our locals come in here and see their own family history on display.
You can catch the exhibit at Buckman Tavern, which runs until September 4th, 2023. LexMedia was on hand in mid-October to celebrate opening of a new accessibility trail at Parker Meadows. Devin Shaw brings the story of how two friends made a difference in the community.
Almost 9 years ago, Meg Landers wanted to take her friend Marianne de Blasi to Parker Meadow. When they arrived, they realized it would be too dangerous for Marianne, who uses a wheelchair, to even attempt navigating the trail. This motivated Meg to make sure that would never happen again.
Well, I have a very good friend of mine who is in a wheelchair and is disabled. And one day we were walking from town center after we were going to church, and we came down the bike path, and I made a suggestion that we come to Parker Meadows to see the ducks on the pond. And in my memory was the boardwalk that we would have access to. It was a gorgeous day, and as we came upon the entrance to Parker Meadows, what we discovered was that the boardwalk was in great disrepair. Not only was it in disrepair, it wasn't designed for somebody who was in a wheelchair.
So I was excited to go because I love nature and I love going on adventures. So we came off the bike path and the pathway through Parker Meadow, and we realized that some of the boards were broken, and so we couldn't travel any further. So we had to turn around and go back. And I almost really forgot about the incident, and I learned later that she was traveling alongside me And she experienced the lack of equity and accessibility, and she experienced the exclusion this path had.
But the frustration stayed with me. I thought about it for, several weeks, maybe a couple of months, and I realized that I wanted to try to make a change.
I'm Karen Mullins, the Conservation Director here in Lexington. I've been involved in the planning for this accessible trail project here at Parker Meadow since the beginning, when Meg Landers first approached the town with her idea for it. Working with a group is always fun because everyone has their strengths that they bring and ideas, and so you always get a better product. So as far as the construction and what the commission approved as the final design, everyone agreed the parking lot off of Revere Street had to be improved and provide for accessible access. And then the trail should loop around the pond so everyone could get a view of the pond. We had discussed the idea of an observation port to allow folks to get close and overlook the water, and also reduce the impacts on the bank of the pond from foot traffic.
I imagine it would have been a much easier project if the plan was to replace the broken boards. However, that would not have accomplished the accessibility that this beautiful, beautiful Parker Meadow project, and that really only happened because of citizen activism and working in collaboration with the town government. And that collaboration of those two pieces coming together is what really creates a safe, welcoming, warm, uplifting community that works for everybody. One of the things that I really love about this path and about Parker Meadow is that intimacy with nature is really precious. As somebody who lives with a disability, physical challenges, I can't go into the woods. I can't go off-road, so to speak. There are very limited places in nature that a nature sanctuary that I can enjoy and be in. And this is one of them now.
Being connected to nature is such a primary experience for me. And of course, I'm very enthusiastic to want to share that. And that was really my motivation too. Everybody should be able to have access to nature.
And now it's time for sports. The football season is just about over for the Lexington High School. Our own Terry Samaras has a wrap-up of the last game and a look ahead.
Hey guys, Terry Samaras down here at Lexington High School track and field, where as you can see the Lexington Minutemen are practicing behind me and preparing for their game against the Lowell Red Raiders on the road this upcoming weekend. But first, Halloween just went by and Lexington Minutemen had something to fear more than just goblins and ghouls. They had to go on the road and play the undefeated Reading Rockets. Let's take a look at what happened. All right, let's take you guys down to Friday night, October 28th, where we are in Reading, Massachusetts, where the Lexington Minutemen are taking on the Reading Rockets. It was a cold night, lows of 44 degrees with 13-mile-per-hour winds. Starting quarterback for the Minutemen, Nelson Mendez-Stevens, was actually out of this game. He was seen with a boot on his right ankle and he was in street clothes. Taking his place was sophomore Adam O'Shaughnessy, number 15, and freshman number 9, Amari Moe. And it was clear that they were going to be missing Mendez-Stevens because the offense was definitely struggling in this game. Let's take you guys to the first quarter. All right, in the first quarter, quarterback Adam O'Shaughnessy actually found Amari Moe for a big gain, went up and got that ball in traffic and actually ended up getting some yards after the catch. But unfortunately, the whole play was negated because of an ineligible receiver penalty on the play. They ended up punting a few plays later. However, once Reading got the ball, it was business as usual. As you can see, quarterback James Murphy finds Alex Thanopoli for a 26-yard gain that ends up putting the Reading Rockets on the board 7-0. On the next Lexington Minutemen possession, it was actually probably the best drive of the day for the Minutemen. As you can see, it starts off with Amari Moe at the quarterback position where he gets a 15-yard gain. On the very next play, a 25-yard gain from Joseph Suh. Now on second down, 31 yards out, Amari takes a snap, fakes it to Suh, gets around the right edge, finds a seam down up the right side of the field, and falls into the end zone, getting the Minutemen back into this game. However, on the very first offensive play for the Reading Rockets, quarterback James Murphy finds Alex Stinopoli again for a 65-yard passing touchdown. This had to have hurt the Minutemen. After making a great offensive drive and getting their touchdown, the Reading Rockets came right back and just found an easy one on the other side. On the next possession, Joseph Suh ends up taking the ball 80 yards down to the Reading Rockets 1-yard line, finds a seam up the right side, only one man to beat. However, he does end up catching him inside the 5-yard line and pushing him out of bounds. That effort from number 22 will end up being costly to the Lexington Minutemen because 3 plays later on 4th and goal, Amari Moe was stopped at the goal line. Going into halftime with a 21-6 deficit, Lexington Minutemen had to make some adjustments. After halftime, the Minutemen found themselves in a big hole, and the Reading Rockets ended up getting the ball first. And on the very first play, quarterback James Murphy found number 4 Ryan Strout in stride, and he was able to take it 60 yards for the passing touchdown. After that touchdown, the very first possession, Amari Moe takes the snap, and whoop, ball goes up in the air, hits number 11. Reading Rockets end up jumping on it. It was recovered by Andrew Jacknovi, and the Reading Rockets were officially rolling at this point in the game. And now in the fourth quarter, Murphy fakes the handoff, cuts it left, makes a guy miss, and just scampers into the end zone, hopping, skipping, having a good time. This put the Reading Rockets up 47-6 after a missed extra point, and that is your final for the game. Coach, thanks for joining me. Tough game this weekend against, who do we play? I'm sorry, Reading. Tell me what happened there.
Reading came out. I thought it was a very good first half. We came out. We got stopped on the 1-yard line, and second half they came out and out-executed us pretty handily.
I noticed in that second quarter, you guys put together probably your best drive of the game. Got all the way down, scored a touchdown on the 31-yard run. Very next possession, you're right, Joseph Suh took it all the way down to the 5-yard line. Can you explain the momentum change after you guys unfortunately got stuffed on 4th and goal? And
we were conscious of not giving the ball back to them, and we couldn't push it in, and it was very deflating. And they came out, and Reading's Reading, and they came out and executed and turned the momentum in their favor really quick.
I also noticed starting quarterback Mendez Stevens was out that game. I saw a boot on his foot. He was on crutches. Can you tell us what the injury is and what the extent is? Are we expected to see him?
He's got a lower body injury. We're hoping to get him back pretty soon. Mm-hmm. I've been really pleased with we have a freshman who stepped in, we have a sophomore who stepped in, 2 sophomores who have stepped in at the quarterback position, and we're really excited about the growth they've made, but we're looking forward to Nelson getting back.
So we got an upcoming game against Lowell, in Lowell this upcoming weekend. Can you tell us about the significances of this game? Is it a playoff game, or is it just an out-of-conference exhibition game?
It's called the consolation game. We call it bonus football. In a lot of states, we'd be done. Mm-hmm. We came up 1 game short of qualifying for the playoffs. So we're excited to get to play football. It's a gorgeous day out here, and we still get to play football. So we're looking forward to this week, next week, and then Thanksgiving.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming out.
Good luck, all right?
Football.
Absolutely. Thank you. With the Lexington Minutemen record sitting at 2-6 overall and 2-3 in the Middlesex Liberty Division, it seems like the playoff hopes for the Minutemen have diminished. But with 2 games still on the docket, one against Lowell this upcoming weekend and against Concord Carlisle in the Turkey Bowl on Thanksgiving morning, which you can watch live on LexMedia, it seems like they are forming building blocks for this young crew to return to championship form in the future. Reporting down at Lexington High School, Terry Samaras. Back to you guys in studio.
Don't ghost us. We'll be back with some ghoulishly good Halloween tales from around town. Now, as promised, LexMedia's own Julie Potter and Terry Samarwolf head downtown to give you an exclusive look at all the tricks, treats, and Halloween fun.
Happy Halloween, Lexington! I'm Julie Potter, and I came all the way from Hogwarts to Lexington because I heard you know how to party on Halloween.
Yeah, and I got Terry Samare Wolf here. Full moon last night. I got really anxious and I came out to Lexington Center. They had trick-or-treaters, we got kids, we got adults, everyone's dressed up, everyone's having a great time. Give you guys a first-hand look of what's going on. Where's the candy at? How you doing on the candy so far?
Good. Hi! What are you dressed as?
As construction.
Oh, she works for the Lexington DPW.
Yeah.
Except we're the good witches.
You're the good witches?
We don't want to scare children.
Who does?
You.
It's the only costume I had available. Who even says it's a costume now? I think there was a full moon last night.
It's a gorgeous hat.
Thank you so much.
So tell us who you are in real life.
We're from Copey and Sayers Pediatric Dental Office and Orthodontic Office in Lexington.
So pediatric orthodontics, and you're handing out candy to kids?
Nope, toothbrushes and toothpaste.
We wanted to get away from the candy, and we're an art center, right? So we got some slime.
That's brilliant.
Oh, you took the leather away.
See you later.
All right, I found a classmate, so you escaped Hogwarts today too.
And so did my son. It's his first year.
I hope you do well in school this year.
So what do we got going on down here tonight, guys?
We're promoting our 27th annual Trivia Bee.
Oh my, I'm very familiar with the Trivia Bee.
You guys
Almost every year we were there. We love the Trivia Bee.
LexMedia is awesome when they record all our fabulous Trivia Bees, so we love you guys.
We love you too, guys.
Hello, sir.
How we doing?
Are you here because there's been a lot of mischief in Lexington?
I think we're here just to hand out some candy. There's no mischief yet, though.
Have you seen Michael Myers in town?
Haven't, but we got an eye out for him.
Have you seen Jason?
Jason, not yet, but we got people around the res looking for him in case he comes out, okay?
What's up, Kirby? What's up, Kirby?
Tell us about your costume.
So, I am Princess Merida from the movie Brave, which is a Pixar movie. And I made this out of the first 18th century costume that I ever made for the Historical Society.
What a day down here in Lexington Center. We saw ghouls, we saw goblins, we saw ghosts, and they all wanted the same thing. They all wanted candy. A lot of candy down here. It was a blast to come down here, talk to the locals. We had a lot of fun. Jules, what did you take away from this?
I think everybody was most excited to see you, Terry Samare Wolf.
I agree. Saw a lot of Hogwarts alumni here.
Yes, some fellow alumni and classmates are here, but it's been a great, beautiful day out here in Lexington Center, and we can't wait to come back again next year, right?
100%. New costumes, new questions, and same fun times.
Exactly. Thanks, everybody.
One Lexington resident is certainly doing his part to keep the spirit of Halloween alive. I met up with Vlad Selsky, who for over 7 years has been turning his home into a Halloween haunted extravaganza.
I put a spell on you.
My name is Vlad Selsky, and welcome to the Greenwood Haunt. It is basically an expression of who I am. I love fantasy, horror, science fiction, and obviously Halloween. It's my year-round hobby to build my own props and work on all sorts of creative projects throughout the year. And then when Halloween comes around, it's my favorite time of the year, and I have lots of adults and kids of all ages coming by to check out the display. So I moved to Lexington about 12 years ago, and I used to live in a townhouse without any sort of yard. And when I bought my own home, I had my yard for the first time in years, and you know, things start small. You go to a pharmacy, you pick up a couple small things. At that point I had 2 young boys, so wanted to get them into the spirit. I stumbled upon some internet sites that were DIY projects, and I decided to take one on. and I totally loved it. Just caught the bug and said, all right, let me do a few more, and within no time it really escalated. I have had the greatest reception from my neighborhood and community. People really love it. They talk to me about it all year round. They often will walk by, and see me working on my workshop table outside on some new builds. So it's been hugely positive. I am thrilled to have other people enjoy the holiday and enjoy the season. Well, I take a lot of pride in knowing that I am really creating some great experiences and memories for the kids out there, and these are things that they will remember when they get to be adults, and maybe they'll pass this on and influence their own kids someday. And secondly, this is the first year that I've started to do this, which is collect food for the Lexington Food Pantry. And last week when I had my open house, I had a huge tub of food that people have brought with non-perishable items, and I expect a lot more for Halloween night. So to me, like, being able to give back in that way to the community and have the community have an outlet to contribute something is wonderful. In terms of personality, I'm an introvert. You don't have to be an extrovert dressing up in costumes, parading around to do something like this. And everybody can find an outlet that fills their cup and energizes them at the end of the day, or relaxes them. And this was it for me. Anybody can do this, and you can always just start small and come find me for advice and help.
Until I'm sure that you've been shown. What are you looking at?
If you'd like to visit next year, head over to Greenwood Street. Look for the giant 15-foot skeleton and expect a full-size candy bar. From all of us at LexMedia, thank you for watching.